how do you know if your horse needs electrolytes and how much to give them?
Huh. So how do you know if they need them? Maybe we should talk about what electrolytes are.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's a great place to start.
Okay. Electrolytes are minerals, and we think of sodium, chloride, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and they're charged minerals. They are throughout the body. They're important in hydration status, pH balance. They kind of run everything. So if your minerals, if your electrolytes are out of whack or out of balance, you're going to have muscle contraction issues, you're going to have nerve transmission problems, you're not going to have the chemical reactions and the metabolism go on correctly. Just they're responsible for all the basic functions of your body. So if your horse is deficient in electrolytes, it's going to be that last question, emergency. So let's enter in before then. And how you know your horse needs electrolytes is if your horse is sweating a lot. So it doesn't have to be, Olympic level elite athlete. It can be an all-day trail ride. It can be I hauled my horse somewhere and it got really hot back there because it was humid or there wasn't air moving or something. So anytime a horse is sweating, a Cushing's horse maybe that has a very long hair coat in the summer that wasn't clipped, doesn't have to be doing 4-star eventing. So if you're sweating, if you're a horse, you're sweating out liquid, fluid, and you have to rehydrate, but you're also sweating out electrolytes that need to be replaced. The first one I think I mentioned was sodium. So when you put sodium and chloride together, that makes salt. And just standing, breathing, and blinking, horses need about 10 grams of sodium. So that's about 25 grams of salt. And that's about an ounce or so, which is 2 tablespoons. So
considerable amount.
If depending on, and I did all the math for you. So whether you like to talk in tablespoons or grams or ounces, it's all there. That's the basic. And hay, pasture, grains even, they don't have a lot of salt in them. So every horse is going to need salt. And you may know I'm not a fan of salt blocks because the original ones that are very rough, those large 50-pound ones, they're made for cattle tongues, which if you've been licked by a cattle tongue, they're very rough. They love them, they're great, but horses sometimes will like, I'm not getting what I need from here, so they chew it with their inside, they scrape it. That's so, right there. So we like to top dress our salt and our electrolytes. And there's a couple products, you can top dress powders, you can top dress pellets, because you can imagine just plain salt or plain electrolytes can be a little bit tacky. So if you put it in a pellet, it's got some flavoring there and it's less likely to be blown out or dumped over or left in the bottom. So I'm also not a huge fan of putting the electrolytes in the water, but if you do that and you've trained your horse to drink that, make sure you have a bucket of plain water, because that's the point. You can't just give them electrolytes. You have to give them plain water, because that's what they're supposed to do after they have electrolytes, right? So you have to have plain water available.
Because otherwise they're just getting thirsty and then drinking and getting more thirsty.
Exactly,
and you don't want that.
Yeah, and so you're unbalancing further their internal systems.
So it sounds like your horse always needs electrolytes. He just needs to be fed more if you notice those things like the sweating, the
Very
working
well
really hard.
said, yeah. Thank you for summarizing this. That's what I meant to say.
I knew it. I sensed it.